Welcome back. The details. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi arrived back home after participating in Russia-Africa summit, as well as the African initiative to settle the Russian-Ukrainian crisis. Here is a wrap-up of the president's activities during his visit. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi wrapped up his visit to Russia, where he took part in the Russian-Africa summit in St. Petersburg and held various meetings with a number of world leaders. In his speech before the summit, President el-Sisi stressed that this edition comes amid critical circumstances and polarization. He urged Russia to revive the Black Sea grain deal, which collapsed last week, as the president expressed hope to come to a consensual solution to the grain export agreement, taking into account the requests and interests of all parties in order to put an end to the rise in price. El-Sisi urged formulating sustainable solutions to existing conflicts that must be based on principles of international law, stressing that African countries are sovereign and looking to achieve sustainable development. At the continental level, President el-Sisi referred to Egypt's role within its presidency of the Steering Committee of the Heads of State and Government of the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, as well as the leadership of the Post-Conflict Reconstruction and Development File at the EU level to support efforts to reach peace and security. Before leaving Russia, President el-Sisi participated in a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin and leaders of the countries that are part of the African initiative to mediate between the Russian and Ukrainian sides. The leaders have agreed to continue their intensified efforts within the initiative during the coming period. Presidential spokesperson Councillor Ahmed Fahmy said the leaders stressed Africa's fundamental interests in working to end the conflict in light of the huge negative impacts of the conflict at different fronts, including food, energy, and international funding. The African initiative seeking to settle the Ukrainian crisis includes Egypt, South Africa, Senegal, Comoros, Zambia, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. President el-Sisi held summit talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg. The talks focused on boosting the distinguished bilateral ties binding the two countries over the last 80 years. President el-Sisi appreciated Russian support in establishing a Dab'a nuclear plant. For his part, Putin praised the distinguished bilateral ties, adding that several joint mega-projects are under construction. President el-Sisi participated in a business launch on Thursday with Russian President Putin and some African leaders. Opening the Russian-Africa summit, Russian President Putin said that Russia is determined to enhance its trade relations and investments in the African continent, pointing that his country is cooperating with Africa in energy projects, with Russia jointly working at 30 energy projects in 16 African countries and establishing the Dab'a nuclear station in Egypt. On the sidelines of the Russian-African Forum, President el-Sisi also held a meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. The president said he looks forward to activate different aspects of joint cooperation between Egypt and South Africa, including their trade exchange, joint investment opportunities, as well as coordination over Pan-African issues. Upon an initiative by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas arrived in El Alamein city on Saturday. Abbas will witness unity talks between Palestinian factions and is also scheduled to hold talks with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Egypt's meeting comes amid a resurgence of violence in the occupied territories, which has killed at least 203 Palestinians this year.